Done a lot more than a lot of other dogs ever had a chance to do.
It's in a dog's eyes. Pain, love, devotion, a lifetime expressed in a weathered look.
Okay.
But at nearly 12 years old now,
Good girl.
Red's gray beard and hind legs are more telling. She doesn't get around as easily as she once did. Calling it a career in June, the Search and Rescue Lab is now retired. A life's work that literally started where a record amount of Americans' lives violently ended.
I think basically my first pile, where I just found remains in two extremes of conditions, from somebody that clearly was part of the explosion to somebody that had been through the fire. And that kind of set the tone for what we were looking for.
Red's handler, Heather Roach, was working Red and her other dog for 11 days after the attacks in 2001, combing through piles of debris in the north lot of the Pentagon. Red, not yet 2 years old at the time and just certified, now going to work identifying the smallest pieces of victims' remains among the mounds of pulverized concrete, steel, flesh and bone.
She was right a lot that day, or those few days.
Yeah. They were, which, again, it was nice to see, like, the after-action report and find out just how right the dogs were and what a difference we made to so many different families that might not have had closure otherwise.
You can't beat a dog's nose, especially if they're trained for it.
Retired D.C. Metro Police Officer Jim Lugala ended up running the canine operation at the Pentagon. He and his cadaver dog, King, were the first to respond, part of a program D.C. Metro launched not 6 months prior to 9/11. King immediately started making hits on DNA material that otherwise looked like nothing to the human eye.
You see a lot of it now with the news where they'll show pictures of people coming out that are bloody. You know, those are the people that made it, that are still alive. The people that did make it are usually, there's nothing left, nothing recognizable.
Resistant at first, the FBI then immediately saw the need for the dog's nose and ordered Lugala to get as many as he could. Heather and Red in Annapolis were among the 30 teams he could find. All told, the FBI now says the cadaver dogs helped find 70% of the body parts and minuscule DNA of victims that were later processed and eventually identified. Man's best friend on his worst day.
These dogs help bring closure to hundreds of families.
Yes, yes they did. But you lost thousands. You can't bring them back.
The Pentagon's North Lot was these canine teams' slice of our nation's hell. Their success couched in so much loss, the scar for both man and dog, still too fresh. So as the 9/11 decade nears its end, Heather and Red will be training.
Good girl.
Older, slower, but insistent, this lab doesn't want to stop. Come the 10-year memoriam of 9/11, Red will be on the water as Heather teaches a training exercise for younger, active cadaver dogs. The old girl now, playing more of an advisory role, teaching younger dogs her old tricks.
She'll be on the boat, so that's November 11th. And everybody else is reflecting. We'll be quietly reflecting and still training and being ready for the next call.
Still devoting her canine life to the human condition. In Annapolis, Brian Kubler, ABC 2 News.